Okay, let's see how this works. So, hopefully you can hear me over the sound of dishes being washed. I'm going to start a series of weekly, monthly, bi-weekly videos, whatever I decide later on, concerning plot points. So here I'll be talking about different movie plots that I have ideas for. Starting with Marvel's The Ultimates. So, these are just ideas, and Marvel has apparently canned the movie they were going to do. They've given the green light for more well-known Inhuman characters to be used in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So there's a chance that everything I say now could be null and void, especially if Black Bolt shows up in the show, or Karnak, or any of the other more well-known characters. Now, if you're not familiar with the Inhumans, or maybe you just have a very limited working knowledge based on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I can give you a brief overview. I only read about one book, Silent War, and I've seen some of the characters show up in other books, animated series, etc. So I have a little bit of a working knowledge of them. And so I'll work off of that as I propose my story elements. So, to start with, I think that with the Inhumans movie, you could do a great lead-in after the events of the second Avengers Infinity War movie. Now, it's set to be titled something else, so there's no telling what that might be. I'm assuming it's going to be something around the new Avengers, considering contracts are running out, and, well, could be any number of things. But, with that being said, I think that you could also set up a great lead-in to the Inhumans movie. The Inhumans are basically, when focusing on the royal family, like Game of Thrones. Well, with less nudity, less death. But you have Black Bolt, he's our king. You have Medusa, his queen. You have Karnak, who I believe his ability is he's a great martial artist, but also can see the weakness in any object or person. Like, for example, walk up to a wall, hit it in the right spot, and the whole wall will come crashing down. You then have Gorgon, who has goat-shaped legs, super strong, more of a bruiser type character. And Crystal, who I believe may control earthquakes. I'm not really sure, it's been a long time. But she is, I believe, Medusa's sister, or daughter, doesn't matter. And then there's Maximus, Black Bolt's evil brother. Well, evil is really a general term, he's crazy. Super intelligent, but crazy. Now, with that being said, I think that you have another chance to create a movie that is similar to Guardians of the Galaxy in the sense that, you have a bunch of characters people aren't very familiar with. You have plots that people don't have a lot of expectation for. Now, the fans, of course, are going to be wanting to have something a little bit more serious and related to the comics. However, again, I think you could hit all those touch tones and still create a movie that would be pretty popular and even be a great lead-in to something later on down the road, like Avengers versus Inhumans, or, well, you name it. At the same time, I don't think it would necessarily conflict with the show. However, I do think you could have a couple lines that reference the show, and the show, I mean Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., without doing too much damage. Now, second Avengers movie following Infinity War, I think at the very end you could have closing on a cemetery. As the camera pans down, you find the tombstone or plaque of Quicksilver, or Petro, considering they can't really use the term Quicksilver right now, considering, well, Fox has those rights. But zoom in on Quicksilver's grave, show that it's being disturbed, dug up, and show mysterious figures clouded in black robes. I think you can give the hint of a face, maybe the hint of hooves, which would represent Gorgon, I believe, and then you could show them carrying his tomb toward a giant dog known as Lockjaw. Now, Lockjaw, he can teleport. He's very almost large bulldog-esque. He has kind of a tuning fork in his head, similar to Black Bolt. If you look at Wikipedia, you'll find out who I'm talking about. But he can teleport, so you could have him teleport the coffin away. Closing credits, the end. Of course, all the people who have no idea who the Inhumans were will be wondering, who the hell are these people? Where the fans will be like, oh, awesome. Now, that's just a little sneak peek. Going into the Inhumans movie, I think you should open with a quick introduction to the royal family, who's living somewhere in the Arctic. I can't remember where they're placed in the comics per se. Again, I have limited knowledge and I don't feel like going on Wikipedia. However, it was a cold, mountainous place. I think later they relocated to the moon, which could be a great plot point for a later movie or series, etc. But you're introduced to your characters, the people I mentioned, some other people, maybe ones I'm not as familiar with. And from there, I think that's where you can basically introduce people to the Inhumans. Now, you could introduce people right away, but I think what you need to do is use Quicksilver as your introduction. He's well known, he's relatively liked. Even the common non-comic book geek will probably know who Quicksilver is, or at least Petro. So, to back up, at the end of the Avengers movie, you saw Quicksilver's coffin. You saw it being teleported away. It cut now to his coffin being brought in, hushed voices talking, one of those people being Crystal. And along with Gorgon and some other Inhuman type characters, they bring the body, Quicksilver's body, into the Terrigen Mist chamber. You hear hushed voices saying this may work, this may not, but the prophecy says that someone is destined to rise, and this person they feel is Quicksilver. Now in the comics, Quicksilver and Crystal end up getting married, having a child. Quicksilver's a bit of a different character though. He's just as brash, but overall more dickish. Trust me there. But they use the Terrigen Mist. It revives and heals Quicksilver. He's brought back to life. Of course, they quickly explain that this only happens once. It's rare. Sometimes it's been known to heal and even bring back the dead, but it's rare, etc., etc. But now you have Quicksilver. You have him back in the Marvel Universe. But more importantly, he is going to be the audience's eyes and ears to explore this brand new world. Now, as we're exploring the world, it's a chance and an opportunity to introduce these other characters. Like I said earlier, Black Bolt, Medusa, etc. Now, Black Bolt, he can't speak because even a whisper could destroy a mountain. So if he were to scream, he'd probably destroy the planet. He's also super strong, super fast. I'd get nigh invulnerable, and I believe he can fly as well. Medusa, the queen, has long reddish hair that she can use like whips or tendrils, and she also serves as Black Bolt's voice, which I always thought was a very interesting theme in the comics, considering that there's a lot of trust between the characters for that to take place, but also, essentially, if you want to go the Game of Thrones route, she could be very manipulative in some ways and speak for her king. Now, I think with these introductions, you could have a fight between Black Bolt and Quicksilver, where you really get to see some of Black Bolt's powers. You can see Quicksilver freaking out, and over the course of the film, you can though see him realize that he's a part of this prophecy, not necessarily the main hero per se, but a part. Now, what that prophecy is, I do not know, but I think you could basically lead into Crystal saying, I've been watching you for quite some time, I've been watching the world change, and when you sacrificed yourself, I felt something and wanted to know more of you. Hollywood screenwriters can write the rest of the romantic language there, but you do have a tie-in, which I think is good. Now, I think that the main adversary in this movie should be Maximus, with a legion of robotic footmen, with other Inhumans. Maybe that he is won over to his cause. In the comics, he's very manipulative. Very manipulative. But he's intelligent and crazy and all these other things. I think overall his goal should be to expose the Inhumans to the world. And not just in little ways, but to fully bring the royal family into the earth. And I think that's basically what should end up happening over the course of the film. I think Maximus should manipulate Black Bolt and the royal family into a giant battle. I think it should spill out into the streets of the city, fictional or not. And I think from there, you could have the Inhumans stepping up to save lives of the humans, even though they feel they are removed from them. And in the process of exposing themselves to the humans and saving the day, they both succeed in showing themselves as heroes, which is something that Maximus didn't want. He wanted to, let's say, push the Inhumans toward war with the humans. But you could have a twist. You could have Quicksilver jumping in the way and explaining. You could have Inhumans being heroes, you name it. But basically that would end the movie, would be them saving the day. Yes, I'm not talking about a big blue light in the sky. I'm not talking about some big doomsday bomb. I think that's silly and stupid. I think you need something similar to what happened in the first Avengers film, in the sense that there's these different Inhuman characters you've gotten to know, good and bad, fighting it out in the streets with robotic foot soldiers or something of that nature that they're having to fight. Let's face it, you had it with Chitauri and Avengers, you have it with whatever those aliens were called in Guardians, but it's all the same. So, that's my idea for the Inhumans movie. Now, granted, we may never see any Inhumans movie at all. I have a sneaking suspicion that maybe the reason it was shelved is that Marvel is making deals behind the scenes with Fox. I don't really have any information to justify this, just a feeling. It would make sense, though. Fantastic Four movie has failed. Inhumans do connect very strongly to the Fantastic Four as well. I think at the same time, you have all these other movies and characters like Ant-Man and Wasp that have done well, and so they're pushing it back farther and farther because they have these guaranteed money makers versus balancing everything on these less well-known characters. At the same time, I have to wonder if maybe the Inhumans were pushed on people through comics and through movies because Marvel doesn't have access to the X-Men right now that's left over to Fox. I mean, yes, I'm sure they get some money, but it's not the same as their MCU universe. And let's face it, the last X-Men film, though enjoyable to a part, wasn't the big success that we've seen some of the Marvel direct MCU movies. No. But that's my idea. Now, my other suspicion here is that maybe Vin Diesel was supposed to play Black Bolt, but that may not happen now. I mean, it would make sense. He was the voice of Groot, and he was Black Bolt. If you look at him and look at a picture of Black Bolt, I think you'll see a similarity. Plus, there was a lot of Twitter feed at the time, etc., etc., etc. Now, again, complete speculation, but that's my plot idea. Take it or leave it. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. Who knows? Maybe if people like it enough, we'll dig it in the Humans movie. But anyway, that's enough for now. My name is Joseph Ridley. Thank you for letting me use your time, and I'll see you later.